Hello, I'm Douglas Johnson, and welcome to Day Tripping. So today, what I want to talk to you about is this thing, the Daffodil Air Raid Siren, or the Daffodil Siren, or Daffodil Metamorphosis is what it's really called. And you know, back on Siren Walk number 5, I went out to and I visited this guy. Uh, just unfortunately, like an idiot, I forgot to put the memory card in my camera, so I wasn't able to take any really good pictures of it. The only pictures I was able to take was with my cell phone, and I record all my trips on this phone. The thing is, it just doesn't have a telephoto lens. So with my camera, my lens I believe is like a 24 to 72, so I can at least get a little bit tighter and get a little bit of better detail on the siren because it's a really cool siren. I mean, it's really interesting. It's cool to see. Let me share some of those pictures with you. So here we go. A little bit of a close up of the siren. You can see it there on the freeway with the flower, and you can see some of the ports up in there. Yeah, and here it is again, a lower angle shot. The kind of distracted by the trees. It's really difficult to get a good angle on this thing. But this one I really like. Again, it's a little distraction with the trees, but what I like about it is that if you get in there really close, and I'll zoom in on it, you can see the ports on the rotating disc in the center of the siren that makes the sounds. A lot of the sirens, not only are they rusty, it gives it a lot of character when with the chip paint and the rust on it and everything, gives them a lot of character. I mean, this one's painted a flat gray, but it is missing the screen that covers those ports. So if you get like good binoculars or a good telephoto lens, you can get right up in there and you can see the ports on the siren. But overall, when I went back there again and I was thinking about it, I really don't know. I really don't know what I think about this thing. First, let me give you a little bit of a history about the siren, the Daffodil Metamorphosis siren. As we know, around between World War II and the Cold War, Los Angeles County put up about 250 sirens. That doesn't include the sirens that are outside of LA, the surrounding counties, and California State. And these sirens were put up to warn people in the, beginning in World War II, it was for an air raid. And then during the Cold War, it would have been missile strikes from Russia. And you can learn a lot more about that information on my air raid siren history video, which I'll put a link up. I don't know where the links go. They go here or here, someplace. So I'll put a link up, and you can check out the air raid siren history of Los Angeles, and you can learn a little bit more about them. But anyway, these sirens, they were up until the mid 80s. If I talked to anybody that grew up in Los Angeles, they would always tell me these stories about hearing the sirens. At the end of, I believe it was the last Friday of every month, they would test the sirens, and you'd be able to hear them echoing and screaming out all around the city. And people have very vivid memories of this, but that all came to an end in January of 1985, when the system was it was determined the system was it wasn't worth it anymore. Phones were coming out. Today we got cell phones and radios, and there was a whole bunch of other communication systems that they could use that were just a lot more efficient than the sirens. But the funny thing is, it was just too expensive to take the things down. So there they are. And that's what I'm going on my walks to see. I want to see these sirens, where they are and what they look like now. It's just something that fascinates me. They're there, and they're just this part of the Los Angeles landscape that many people, they just overlook them. So there they stood silently for years until 1996. In 1996, the Los Angeles County, they started what was called the Community Redevelopment Agency that would provide grants and money for public arts works and try to make the city look better. It's easy for us to forget today that what Los Angeles looked like in the 90s or in the 80s. It was a completely different city back then. Funny little anecdote. So I moved into Los Angeles in 1997. And the night I got here, the first person I met, they told me, never get off the Echo Park exit of the 101. It's the worst part of town. It's dangerous. You go there, you don't want to go there. I live around Echo Park right now, and I got to say, you probably would never hear anybody say that today. It's one of the most desirable areas to live in the city. And, but it wasn't back then. But today it is. So they were trying to beautify it. They were trying to get money and try to change the city a bit. Make it more appealing for people. Make them come in and make people appreciate the art, the culture, and basically put up things for people to see around the city. And one of those things was this Daffodil Metamorphosis that came out of it. So an artist by the name of Michael Tansey, he submitted a proposal for this Daffodil Metamorphosis, and it was selected, and he was given $20,000 to turn an unused air raid siren into a modern art piece. So according to the website coldwarla.com, this is what they have to say about it. Built around an SD-10 siren, the bright yellow flower blooming from the base of the siren was to shine a positive and I am bad with words, contradictory light onto the decaying history of the fear of nuclear annihilation. You had to have lived in the 80s to know about this constant fear of Russian nuclear attack. And I spoke about that. I'm just name dropping all day today in my Cold War LA history video. Anyway, they continue. Although both nuclear weapons and this metal flower were man-made, the daffodil, chosen for its tradition of being the first flower to bloom in spring, highlights the potential for a brighter future to come out of the once ominous symbol of the possible end of civilization. They got kind of dramatic about the way they described this thing. But yeah, so it was originally placed on the corner of Figueroa and Olympic. That's where the siren originally was located. And they changed it. They added so the artist took it. He added this flower sculpture to it, and they kept it in the same spot right there. Eventually, they decided to put up the Staples Center and expand that into LA Live, and the siren just got in the way, so they had to take it down. And this is nothing new. I mean, we saw this with the Disney Hall siren on walk number 1. I visited a siren that was on the other side of the parking structure in front of the Disney Music Center. That's no longer there. They took that down to build a building. And then on same walk number 5, I went to Grand and 12th, where there was supposed to be a siren, and that one probably came down in the early 2000s for the buildings that were put up in that time. But anyway, this particular siren, that after it was turned into the daffodil, was removed and was put into a field. I don't know what field it was. It was just said it was put into a field to lay there, exposed to the elements for years. So, yeah. But in 2007, it got a third lease on life. The first one being the siren when it was built, the second one being turned into the daffodil, and now it was going to be put back up again. They had the perfect location for it, too. It was going to be on Cherry Street, right along the 110 Harbor Freeway, in a dog park. This is where it gets a little ridiculous to me. I mean, the city, they spent $20,000 to make this thing. And the whole point of it was to beautify Los Angeles, add public art, remind us of what our past was and how hopeful our future was. And it was something I think was for people to see. That's what art is. You design something, you put it up there, and it's for people to look at and for people to enjoy, to think about, maybe challenge their opinions, make them feel something. Right now, this isn't doing any of that. I mean, I know sirens have to come down, buildings are torn down, things are moved, but this one's different. It was intended as an art piece. So most people, I think most people who even get the opportunity to see this thing have no idea what they're looking at. I mean, when I went down there the first time on my first walk, I totally missed this one. I walked right by it. The second, when I did the walk number 5, it took me a while to find this thing. I mean, when I went to Figueroa and Olympic, I went down the street, I wandered around, and then I had to take my phone out, and I had to look on the map, and I had to find this thing. You can't see it from the main streets. You just can't. And if you're on the 110 freeway, you can't see it from the freeway. I've driven by this thing literally 1,000 times. And I say that because I took the 110 freeway north every day, work day, for 10 years. And there's a lot of traffic there. And I was stuck on that road many, many times, just looking around at the buildings and everything. And I never saw this thing. And I challenge you to be stuck on the 110 freeway or even be on the 110 freeway and see this thing. You can't see it. It's just hidden. And if you look at this photograph, it's hidden. nobody knows what they're looking at unless you're going to go walk your dog for. I don't know who's walking the dog over there. Maybe people taking the dog to the basketball game and need a place to walk it for a bit. And I'm sure there's people that live in the area that use it for the dog walks. But I don't even know if they really appreciate it. So I think it needs to be put back where it originally belonged. The whole purpose of the art thing, according to that L.A. Cold War LA, was to remind people of our Cold War past and have it a symbol of that and have them question that. And it's not doing that. If they put it back and figure out Olympic, it would be a word I like. I love the TV show Time Team. It's about archaeology in London, well, Britain mostly. And the term they use all the time is in situ, in place where it was found, so that it tells a better story. Right now, it's not telling. I don't think it's telling the story it was meant to tell, and it should tell. So, and there's no reason that they can't put it back there, even if it doesn't work. Just put it there, and people will drive by it. People will wonder what the hell it is, but at least they'll see it, and they'll take pictures of it, and they'll ask questions about it, and maybe those questions will lead to people's interest in the air raid sirens of Los Angeles, in the Cold War of LA, in World War II, the blackouts of World War II, or just LA history in general. So let me know what you think. Do you think this thing was a complete waste of money? Do you think it still should serve a purpose, or could serve a purpose? Should it be moved back to Olympic and Figueroa? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, I'm Douglas Johnson. This is Day Tripping. And try to get out if you can, but stay safe and stay healthy.